Welcome back to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast. And in case you're just joining us, you're listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast with Emmy, Hikins, and Trevor.
But briefly, the story is this, and I'd like your view on whether you think what happened should have happened. Now, there were two young guys. One was 16, Christopher Craig, and one was 19, Derek Bentley. Now, so 16 and 19. Derek apparently had some mental head trauma. So he had a head trauma injury as a youngster. So clearly that affected him, because it was said in court that he had a mental age of 11. He was 19 when he was in court. And anyway, he got involved with Christopher Craig, who came from another family in Croydon. And anyway, one day they were going to burgle a factory in Croydon itself. But somebody spotted them from their window, sort of climbing up a ladder on the side, getting on the roof. They called the police. The police came pretty quickly and cornered these two young fellows on the roof of this factory, because it was dark and everything else.
Yeah.
There were a number of policemen there, and they had guns, but so did Christopher Craig. He had a gun. Now, this was actually, from this book I read, it was a very famous case, which actually played some part in producing the vote in 65 to abolish the death penalty. It played a part in it. This was in the early 1950s, I think. So anyway, there's Derek Bentley on the roof with Christopher Craig, who had a gun. Derek Bentley, I don't believe, did. The policeman came up, and a fight ensued that actually lasted for about an hour, but couple of hours even. But very quickly, one of the policemen, he grabbed hold of Derek Bentley, the chap with the mental age of 11, and arrested him, and actually crouched down with him by some of the barriers, because Christopher Craig was over there with a gun. And he was exchanging shots generally. I think he had a sawn-off shotgun, so it wasn't unduly accurate, apparently. But he was every so often firing the bullet in the direction of where he thought the policemen were. And this went on for certainly over an hour and was getting nowhere. Anyway, at a given point, with these bullets flying about from time to time, as I say, Derek Bentley was under arrest with this policeman holding him. At some stage, Derek Bentley shouted out to Chris Craig, "Let him have it, Chris." Now, this was in a way what eventually condemned Bentley, because the jury, and it was a very short case, a 3-day case. They were both arrested. Well, no, let me tell you what happened. Sorry, I've gone a bit forward there. Let him have it, Chris. And shortly thereafter, another bullet rang out, and it hit a policeman, PC Sidney Miles, I think his name was, hit him in the head and killed him. Now, whether Craig had actually seen him and aimed, his barrister said, well, the gun wasn't accurate, he just was firing randomly, which may or may not have been the case, but nonetheless, poor Sidney Miles was dead. At the same time, Derek Bentley was still under arrest, being held by another policeman whose name I think was Fairfax, and he was under arrest. Anyway, so then they were arrested, obviously, taken into the police station, charged with murder, and under a legal application called joint enterprise, which I think still exists, somebody can be convicted of murder even if they didn't actually pull the trigger, or in other words, they got a conspiracy between them to commit a crime, which is what they were doing up there on the roof to burgle this factory.
Yeah.
It was a case that made a lot of headlines. And as I say, after 3 days and 12 hours of jury deliberation, which doesn't sound very long, they found them both guilty of murder. Now, Christopher Craig was 16, going on 17, so he was under 18. So he could not be hanged. This is when Britain did it, the early to mid 50s still had hanging as a punishment. So the chap who pulled the trigger and killed the policeman could not be imprisoned, could not be hanged is the technical thing. But Derek Bentley was sentenced to hang. Now, this caused a lot of protests outside the courts and everything for a long time. There were mass protests of people saying, hang on a minute, he was under arrest with a policeman. And his barrister, his lawyer, argued that when he said, let him have it, Chris, and bearing in mind he'd had this head trauma, and he had a very young...
We're going to take a short break now. We're back shortly. You've been listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show with Trevor and Emmy Hikins. The Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast is looking for sponsors. If you're a company out there looking to spread the word about the products and services you provide, please get in touch with Deepstuff Radio Podcast on info@deepstuffrecords.com, or to use the contact form on our website to contact us, please visit radio.deepstuffrecords.com. Also, if you're looking to get involved on the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast, reach out via our Deepstuff Radio Facebook page. Thank you.